It's finally my pleasure to introduce your new superintendent, Joe Ernst.
Good morning, everyone. Just trying to kind of gauge the mic. All right, so, boy, so much to say. First, I wanted to start with Mr. Culpepper. I think that is a shining example of what we do in our school district. We find people's talents, we use those talents for the benefit of the whole. And so, Marcus, I'm not sure where you are, but my goodness, that was an incredible start, and it really kicked us off well. I think the next place I'd like to go is our work that has been done over the summer. So I began my transition into the role of superintendent, and one of the data points that I received was that we have approximately 200 vacancies before the start of the school year. And that seemed to be a bit challenging, my first moments on the job. And I have to tell you that I want to highlight this because this is what we're after. Doug Owen and his leadership and the HR team and the finance team and the special education team and the associate chiefs and the administrators in here, we are now in the neighborhood of only 30-ish vacancies. That's remarkable. That is a remarkable something. And I really want to underline that because that's what happens when we all engage in a priority focus. And that's what we've accomplished. We're not there. We've got a lot of work to do ahead in that area. And we're going to lean into that. So, okay, here's the clicker. So I put a lot of thought into what do I want to share in 1 hour's time. And folks that know me well enough know that 1 hour's time may be a limiting factor today. But I thought, and this is what I was kind of thinking as we were going through all the introductions, we have a lot of new administrators. And today we're going to talk about leadership. And I thought, my goodness, I know so many of you, and this is such a privilege to be up here to talk to you all today. So many of you I know, I respect, and I'm so glad that I get this chance. And then there's so many that I don't know right now, and I really want to get to know. And so I thought, well, I think it's probably important that people start to get a bit of an understanding about me. And so, and we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but the reason I start with the first bullet is it was made known to me by my parents when I had a very early age that I was adopted into this family of four. And you know, as I proceeded through life, I used to have people, and I always felt like, okay, this is kind of neat. And I always had people that came up to me and they said, oh my God, do you know your real mom? And what would you ever say to her? And I always said, if I saw her or if I met her, I would say thank you. Because the alternative could have been a lot different. And I bring that up because it really is at the heart of who I am as far as gratitude, appreciation, and thankfulness. And so that's kind of where it starts for me. And then I had my father. And my father was a real influential person in my life. He was not easy on expectations in the household. And, you know, when you're a kid, you maybe don't appreciate that as much as you do later in life when you become an adult. But one of the things my father taught me and then led by example was hard work. My father was an electrician. He went to work early in the morning, got home late at night. I would get up in the morning, I'd see him putting his work boots on, and every day, going again. Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. Never a complaint about it. And what he and it and others have taught me is that hard work, I really believe, is the great equalizer. He always said, you don't have to be the smartest one. You don't have to be the most talented one. But if you work hard and you give everything you can, nobody can ask more of you, and it equals the playing field. And so I've kept that very near and dear to my heart. And in fact, what's the name of that ring we were just talking about? Aura ring. I don't want one of those right now because I think sleep at the moment has been a bit of a challenge. And I'm pretty aware of that. Okay, so then the next one is, this is my family. And I was a bit embarrassed to put this one picture up there of me smiling ear to ear. But I'll tell you a little bit about it, okay? So you can see in the picture, there is my wife, So. And So is the backbone of our family. She immigrated from Korea when she was 12. She came here to the United States as a family, didn't ever speak any English, and is the most marvelous person I know. And so that's my wife. And I feel like I can do this job because of her, because she takes care of the kids. And I like to be an active part of my kids, and that was a hard kind of decision with all of this, but they're in a good place. And so she's the backbone of the family. Then you can see the three kids over on the left. And the one, Ryan, is in the middle, and he gets a lot of his height from me. So Ryan is a really interesting story and has taught me a lot about a new world in front of me that I really am not all that aware of and became more aware of with some of the conversation this morning about. And so Ryan graduated from here, went to college, UNR. He ends up graduating with neuroscience. He's doing really good. Well, then I find out, and it was kind of funny at the house, because Ryan liked to do a lot of videos of himself, this whole TikTok thing. And I used to kind of giggle about it and kind of laugh and give him a hard time. Well, I guess it's a good thing, because from TikTok, Ryan has been discovered by a major modeling agency in New York. And now Ryan is a model all across the world because of TikTok. I never would have thought it. Okay, kind of cool. Right now he's over in Korea for 2 months modeling, and he just sent us all his pictures, and you're like, oh my God, good to be you. And so then my daughter, Lauren's a senior, and just an absolute joy. And she just makes us laugh all the time. And she just started that transition in life where she got a job over the summer, knocking down doors. Lauren, what's going on? How come you're not getting, they said they would call me back. They said do it online, all of these things. She gets a job. Well, I'm going to talk about it later in the presentation, a little preview. But hearing her stories right now about customer service is really making me smile. She has such an interesting take on it, and so we've been talking about that. And then Aiden down there. Aiden is an 8th grader. All of the kids, I've had my pleasure and lifelong ambition to be able to coach all of them in their sports. Just love every moment of it. And so that's the family, that's my family, and that's what's most important to me, so I wanted to share that with you. The picture on the right, well, a little bit obnoxious, but I will tell you, I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. and I lived there 24-ish years. And part of the reason, and I know it's not as deep as it maybe should be, but part of the reason I always wanted to move west was because I used to sit in my basement in Michigan on January 1st when it was cold and it was icy and it was gray, and you went outside and all you could smell was smoke in the neighborhood from everyone's fireplaces, and then you ran back inside because it was really cold. And I used to watch the Rose Bowl, and I used to see this, and I used to look, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what it looks like out there? That's beautiful. Mountains and sunshine. And so I've always wanted to come west, so came west many years back. And so my daughter had a basketball tournament in Las Vegas, and it just so happened that University of Michigan football was playing in the Rose Bowl. And so then I carefully approached my wife, and I said, oh my goodness, Las Vegas and Pasadena are practically next door. And I get the answer that I could not believe. She says, let's go. I paused for a moment. I'm sorry, can you just say that one more time for me, just to make sure before we put this in full action, because I'm pretty sure we're going to have to move quick. Anyhow, she says yes, and we get a chance to go to the Rose Bowl on January 1st with my family, and it's a lifelong treasure, lifelong memory, and anyone in here who maybe watched the game itself couldn't have been any better, and it was just a fun family moment. So I wanted to share that. My background in education, I came into teaching because and this is really how I came in. My best buddy, first grade, played every day, matchbox cars in the dirt, all that good stuff. My mother calls me in and she says, hey, I want to tell you something just so you're aware. My friend, he's not going on to second grade. I don't even know how old I am, maybe 6 or 7-ish or something. And I said, what? He's not going on. He's going to be held back, and I want you to be aware of that. All right, that's kind of a bummer. He's my best buddy, and he's not going on. So from there, just kind of because he was my best buddy, the following year, I just started always going, because I always went over his house anyhow. And I went over, and we would work on all of his work. And he had eye stigmatism, and we did some things. And I knew really early that I wanted to be a teacher, and I wanted to be a coach. And so that's what brought me in. And I'll share more about that in a moment. And then I went in, so I taught for 13 years, and I love teaching. It was always really hard for me to go into administration because working with kids front and center is why you come into the job. And so thank goodness coaching kept me connected to kids. I went into being an assistant principal, and I want to just share, because we have newer administrators, and we're going to talk really leadership principles today. And on that note, as an assistant principal or a dean, the greatest thing I learned was to get behind the thinking of your mentor, to understand why they're doing things in certain ways. Sometimes we can get in the habit, one step, next step, next step, next step, and you think that's just how it goes. But everything is connected, and you have to be really thoughtful. And so my entire career, I have been so fortunate to have amazing mentors. And I really believe education is about paying it forward. And I've been really fortunate. And that's one of the things I learned in that. And with our newer administrators, I really encourage you to take the time to do that. And it's hard to carve that time out when the principal's really busy and going to the next place. But I encourage you to really try to get behind the thinking and the reasons why decisions are being made. And then as a principal, that was a very gratifying experience. And the one thing that I one of my dearest mentors always told me, and I passed this along, is he told me, don't ever forget what it's like to be a teacher. And I keep that close to me all the time, because in administrative roles, at times the pressures take us into different places, and as long as we don't lose sight of how demanding and challenging teaching is, then we're going to be able to operate and lead from a really good space. And then area superintendent, got a much wider view, very grateful for experiences learning more about middle school and high school, and still have lots more to learn. Chief Accountability Officer, had the wonderful fortune with working with just wonderful team and leaders. And, you know, in that position, I think two of the best takeaways I've had is, how do you really use data in an informed way and be thoughtful about what it's saying. I think I've learned that quite a bit. Dr. Davidson has given me lots of tutoring along the way, and very grateful for that. And then this position. And just, I have to tell you again, back to the ring and the sleep, I'm just so excited. Because of this, I know the talent and the ability and the people in this room, and I know what we can accomplish. And that just gets me so energized at this point of my career, so energized, because I think education is always about brightening our future. And so I'm really encouraged about that. So I'd like to share these aspects with you. And the first one is, and I think you have a handout, and we are going to go over that a little bit more in depth in a moment. But I believe this, and everybody has worked alongside me. I believe this to my core, and I will never lose sight of this. I believe that educators genuinely, the experience we provide to our students can change life trajectories. That is a gigantic statement. That is a gigantic responsibility. But I believe that's why we're in it. That's why we've come into this occupation, is because we have the chance to impact students so positively. I do believe that relationships are really the currency of transformation. And just kind of looking ahead, I'm going to work this to take it to vision, and then how can we get to this vision? But I will say that there's a lot in this, but just understand the importance of taking the time, listening, supporting, and caring. Administrators, all of you in the building, you know there's things that happen, people come, things that you never could have imagined. And when we proceed with empathy, care, and we really try to help support them, that's what builds good relationships. And then I would say, always uplift people, and we're gonna take moments to do that today. Help them become more than what they know they could become. And I hope if you are taking notes, or if you are doing any underlining, that's one that I think is at the heart of education. Great educators, they uplift people continually, and they help them become more than what they knew they could become. And so I really ask us to think about that in our year ahead. I'll also say this: I think professionalism is really important. And I ask that we, as the leaders of the district, model that professionalism all of the time. It can be challenging, but we have choices on how we want to react to things and what we want to do. And I think from every aspect, professionalism is important. It creates trust, it creates clarity, and it can be a really good something. And then the last statement there is, let's work together to elevate the standard on everything that we're doing. Let's make today better than yesterday. And let's make tomorrow better than that. And I know these are fundamental, and I know that these maybe are not epiphanies, but I believe they're at the core of what we embrace. So I'm going to start with what I think are our goals going ahead. And one of the things that I have been trying to do is I've been trying to simplify things. And that's not always easy for me. But I think in the age of which we live, making information consumable for others is a really important aspect. So I tried to narrow things down to 4 goals. We have a strat plan. We're going to talk about it. But I tried to narrow it down so as you are making moment-to-moment decisions, as you are laying the vision in your building, as you are pushing to create greatness, keep these in mind. I do think that culture is at the center of everything, and I want you to understand that people want to be a part of something special. So lean into that. Make that culture something that you really are attending to. For newer administrators and for the more veteran administrators, I apologize for saying so many things that you already know. But I will also say, as we're learning along the way, culture is intentional. You have to really think about every aspect when you are working to build culture. And as that culture is strengthened, you will soar, kids will soar, our families will thrive. So pay attention to it, be mindful, and continually cultivate your culture. Establish high expectations. Okay? We're in education. Establish high expectations. I'll say this, the highest expectations need to be of yourself. Another lesson that my father taught me, don't ever ask anything of others that you would not do yourself. And so when I say high expectations, hold yourself to the highest of expectations. And when you do that, you're leading by example, believe me, others will follow. And so I really want you to be thinking about that. Little story on the rationale piece. So I am an ambitious first-year principal. Here we go. Let's do it. Get in front of the staff, similar today. Get in front of the staff, and we're out in there, and I'm okay, and then this, and oh my gosh, you guys, and we could do this, and then we're going to go here, and we're going to go here. And I started getting a little in the habit of that. So what I love about when you have culture is people talk to you honestly. They don't go through formal channels to try to bring something up. They come and talk to you. So I have this veteran teacher on the staff, comes in, it's after I'm working, you're getting your work done, 5 o'clock, he walks in, Joe, can I talk to you? Yeah, what do you got? Hey, would you be open to a little feedback? Heck yeah, what do you got? One of the things you might want to think about is, can you provide us the rationale on why you're doing things? I think it would be really helpful. We want to be behind you, but sometimes we're not understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And I have to tell you, that was profound. I took that with me and take that with me the rest of my career. Give them the rationale. Provide that. That's how we get to purpose. That's how we build people wanting to be a part of something special. And then I already have talked about all aspects in your building contribute to the culture you're creating. And then if you want to get deeper into that, you can go down that quote. And I thank Mr. Owen for some of his knowledge and helping me work through that to a better degree. All right. So chronic absenteeism. Oh my God, students are chronically absent. And we do have to make it. So goal number 1, strengthening culture. And these are prioritized in order. Number 2, chronic absenteeism. But I want you to take a look at what's really there. Okay? 69% of our elementary schools made gains over last year's absenteeism rates. So we're not going to always be mired in some of the narrative that can sometimes misguide our thinking. Okay? 69%. Middle schools, 76% of our middle schools. We identified it as an area last year. Great leadership, great efforts, and 76% we moved better rates. We haven't arrived by any means, but look at these improvements. 8 schools, reductions more than 10%, and 50% of our high schools increasing and improving absenteeism rates. And so I framed that very intentionally because there's good news right there. And can we stop and just give ourselves a round of applause for that good news? And we also know that we still hover in the neighborhood, 23, 24, 25% chronic absenteeism. And I preview this because the team has put in a lot of effort on systems, structures, processes, procedures, roles, responsibilities, and how we can continue to most effectively. We've got exemplars to build on of places that have made some incredible strides. And so, yes, we have a lot of work. And I really ask you to lean into it. I'm going to share one story. I shared it with the school secretaries yesterday. Just kind of one of those fun moments as a principal. So as a principal, one of the bikes gets stolen in the building. All right, here we go. It's investigation time. So now we got to put that hat on. And so start investigating, and we kind of find out who stole the bike. Then when I talked to the young man, I said, hey, yeah, it's at my house. All right, well, let's go get it. So we drive over to the house, knock on the door, Dad's there. Hey, what's going on? This bike right here, it belongs to someone else. Well, let's just say that young man ended up probably having a bumpy evening in terms of follow through and some of the corrective, behaviors that we do. But then I was leaving the complex. And when I was leaving the complex, I'm driving out and I see 6 kids from our school running around the complex. I said, no way. So I pull up, put the car in park, get out, knock on the door. Mom comes to the door. Mom says, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, they're going to be there tomorrow. I go, I've got room. I've got the truck right here, and I've got time. So I'll wait. So I think we can go today. We still got half a day of learning ahead of us. And so we waited, and I come back to the building, bike in hand, and with 7 additional students. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. So I say that because processes, systems, structures, those are huge. And rolling up the sleeves. And I'll tell you this. I remember we had a student who had massive misbehaviors. When he was absent, guess what we did? We went and knocked on his door too. And we said, I want you there. Come on, let's go. And boy, what a joy that was getting him back to school. We took some detours and we did a lot of different things, but he came back to school. But as leaders, you set the values. You set the course for what belief systems are going to happen in your building. And I just really want us to realize all of that, and I know you do. Number 3, we're in education. We've got to improve the academic outcomes. And I will tell you, I am utterly convinced that we can. I know we can. And I will just say this, and I can be remiss on this, and so I want to make sure I make a point of it. When I say everything we do in our district must lead to improved academic outcomes, that's all of us. That's not just schools. That's our departments working with our schools. That's our amazing grants team supporting work throughout the district. It is all of us together, and that is how we have to do it. And again, I'm going back to the vacancies, over 250. We're down to 30, and the team leaned in. They did it together with purpose, and we got a lot further along. And then I would say, academic, we got to accelerate growth. Sometimes, in the most recent times, I have heard that a year's growth is a good thing. I'm going to push a little bit. I'm going to say I'm not positive it is. I believe we can provide more than a year's growth, and that we have to. Now, when I say that, that definitely comes across as so darn elementary school. So, my middle school and my high school people, when I say beyond, you know, one of the pieces of information that I've been sharing, 50% of our kids are graduating with advanced diplomas. I'll tell you this, that diploma didn't look like my diploma when I graduated from high school. Those diplomas are amazing in terms of what the kids are accomplishing. And so when I say beyond, right now we're an amazing frontier. Dual credits right now. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Look at what we're doing for kids. Look at how we're breaking down barriers to increase access. Look at our CTE program. Met with those folks yesterday under Dr. Hartzog's leadership, and Kathy's there, and Matt's over there, and oh my goodness, I'll tell you this. As a leader, it's so important to learn. It's so important to understand. And the work that is encouraged and happening in CTE is phenomenal. And you all are aware of that. And when I say beyond, that's what I mean. Let's open the doors as wide as we can to give kids the best possible experiences they can have. And then I want you to see this statistic, because this one here is just incredible. 93%. Okay, and let's really anchor ourselves in our thoughts. 93% Washoe County School District graduation rates for students who stay with us for all 4 years in high school. Look what we do when our kids are with us and here every day. Look what we do. That's an amazing statistic, and I ask you guys, give yourselves a round of applause, because that's an awesome something. Then, goal number 3, I believe. 4, okay, goal number 3, maybe 4. All right, so on that, again, it's broad, but what I'm trying to do is principles is what drives leadership. And I think we really want to embrace that. Principles. So I'm not putting up discrete targets on every aspect. I believe when we operate from principles, we can manage the challenges so much more effectively. And so this is what I will say. Education is hard. Your work is hard. What we do every day is hard, for sure. And what a joy it is for us to do amazingly cool things for students. And so I kind of jumped over one, so maybe I'll go back. But my goodness, the high school folks in here, they all know senior sunsets, senior sunrise. Oh my gosh, you go to graduations, you see this, you're like, man, that's cool stuff. That's awesome. You hear about senior pranks and some of the things that occur there. And it's just people, our kids, me, have never necessarily gone home or pretty much in any space much said, oh my gosh, in 4th grade when I learned fractions, oh my God, lit my world on fire. It was amazing. Nope. When we do it, we come and we talk about those memorable experiences. And I highlight that because that's what creates engagement. That's what pulls kids in, makes them want to be there. So don't sacrifice, and I know you're not, but be aware that those things are really good to do for kids. Going on top of the building as a principal and dropping eggs and watching them splatter, I was like, what standard is this? And so then, it's got to be gravity or something like that. And but then you got kids going wild. You got families. I want to come and watch an egg drop. All right, come on down. I really say this because sometimes the challenges are so hard that we think, gotta get this, gotta do this. And we want to. And then I'm going to kind of be positive and engaging for our students. We have a lot of challenges in education with kids' attention. You may have noticed that. We have some challenges. And if we want to make sure that we are really providing engaging instruction. And I'm going to give you a preview. One of those challenges for attention, I heard sometimes, are cell phones. And cell phones can be a legitimate challenge. And I agree, they absolutely can be. And I agree that collectively we have to address it as a system in a very thoughtful way and make sure that we are attending to process. They say, what is it in real estate? Location, location, location. Here I say process, process, process. And you're going to get some training on that today as we start to think about that space as well. And then the quote itself is really about the realist part. We're going to have confines as leaders every day. You're going to have confines. And we can complain about them, and and then we can be an optimist and expect it to change. And then the realist has to adjust the sails to work effectively in the confines. And I think this is really at the heart of leadership. It's actually really fun space to operate in. What confine do I have? How do I do what's best for kids based on the various confines that I'm working through? And I think that's the really fun part of leadership. The other thing about the optimism, I'm gonna take a moment because recently I had one of my employees come back from a training. And this employee sits down and he tells me, Joe, I have got to share this with you. Cool, let's do it. What do you got? He says, I want to share this information about optimism and hope. Those of you who have been in the district long may have previously heard hope is not a strategy. Well, I would push on that in a lot of ways. So this employee comes, he sits down with me, he walks me through it, he's energized, and it made so much sense to me how important it is in our jobs, working with the students we have, the staff that we have, the families that we have, to be hope peddlers continually from an optimistic space. So I want to actually have that person stand up because I also want to tell you about this person. So I think Kyle Kemp is in here somewhere. There he is. Those of you that have worked with Kyle Kemp you know Kyle is the best of the best, and the way that he goes about it, Kyle, I have to tell you, when I first started in accountability, I would go home and say, oh my gosh, those guys are brilliant. Okay, well, here's the thing that makes Kyle and the team and so many of us, what makes Kyle so great at what he does is, as brilliant as he is, he always explains it to you and makes you feel good the way he explains it. He never makes you feel, oh, you don't understand that? Well, too bad, you should understand it. That's not Kyle Kemp. And the guy walks through all of this stuff, and I hear him. I worked right next to him. I hear him on the phone, talking to everybody, the state, talking to principals, everyone. And I'm pointing that out because that is exemplary customer service. That is how we want to operate entirely as a district. So please give Kyle another round of applause. He's tip-top. All right, I think this might be goal 4. I think 3 and 4. All right, anyhow, you've heard me say this already. I have 2 Milken Award winners on there, and here's the thing. What makes great teachers great? They do this. They do this. And I really hope that you help your teachers continue to cultivate that mindset, because that's at the essence of education. That's at the root of it. All right, a lot of lofty ideas, Joe. Whoa. All right, when do we get to the... All right, here we go. So, strategic plan. These are all the things you have to do when you go back to your building. I've got a list of 35. So if you don't mind just getting that pencil out, I'm kidding. All right, here we go. So strategic plan. Awesome visual here because I think it helps us wrap our heads around it. You start in the upper right-hand corner with safety and belonging. It's the beam. Our Board of Trustees, they identified safety and belonging as the beam that holds it together. I totally concur. Safety and belonging is everything. If we think we're going to educate kids in the absence of feeling emotionally safe, physically safe, it's not going to happen. Safety is everything. And belonging, I know you guys are doing this, but look for the kids out there when you're walking around who aren't connected. Go up, connect with them, and pull them forward and connect them with somebody else. Because when you have a sense of belonging, everything is possible. And the opposite is true as well. When you don't have a sense of belonging, it is very difficult. And that transcends and translates in so many ways. You take that for how you want to take that. But safety and belonging. And what I would say is, because they're a beam, to them. Be intentional. I used to, as a principal, oh man, I got to do these safety procedures. I could get 10 more minutes out of instruction. Oh my goodness, gosh, come on, I need more instructional time. Well, then you start getting creative. You're like, oh, let's do it 5 minutes before recess time. And then all of a sudden, everybody's moving a little quicker because they can't go to recess until they finish the drill. And then, all of a sudden, we do it really efficient. I say that with levity, but I say it with seriousness as well. Safety is at the utmost. We've got a number of people. I think I saw Adam here a little earlier. We're putting a lot of measures in place to increase physical safety, and that's part of it. Emotional safety is a massive component of it. Pillars. Pillars are the kind of the foundation. Curriculum. And then I would say this about the second one. My sister, sorry about sometimes the anecdotal stories, but they're pieces that I really remember, and so I share them. My sister, she calls me, I'm young in my career. She has her first child. Her first child she goes to her first conference. She calls me up, and she is fired up. My sister can be pretty fired up. Joe, this teacher told me this, and she told me this. And I won't tell you what she said she wanted to do. I'm like, whoa, relax a little bit. Okay, but what she was saying, and I would tell us to be aware of this, and parents, oh man, we live this. When people are critical of your kids, guess what? It's critical of you as a parent, because parents always think, my God, what could I have done better? I should have done better. I can't believe it. And I say that because when judgment comes through, people turn off. People don't connect. People don't lean in. And I will tell you this, and please hear me this very loud. We, again, cannot make the progress we need to make in the absence of completely connecting and supporting our families. And so we have to attend to that. Lots of things to attend to, but they're great things. And then you can see we continue along. And then I want to go down to the qualities of a learner. And I want to encourage you to all be thinking about this. I do think at moments we get rather discreet in education with standard. And what I would suggest, as we're all kind of keeping on thinking and getting ready for the year ahead, is that the qualities of learners are essential. And let me explain why. Those qualities of a learner talk about we want physically and mentally healthy kids, okay? We want kids that are self-confident. We want kids that take ownership of their actions. We want problem solvers. We want kids willing to take risks. We want skilled communicators, collaborators. Think about when you're hiring at the building. What are you looking for? You're looking for people that know how to collaborate. Mastery of academic skills, and we want to make sure people operate with integrity and compassion. Those aren't listed in every standard, but those are what we aim to cultivate with every one of our students every day. So always continue to think from that broader context. And then we have the strat plan. And what I would encourage is that you work to make meaning from this in how it makes most meaning for you as a leader. For example, Strong Start for Every Child. Oh, that's a P3 initiative. Think about it. Strong Start for Every Child is Strong Start for every child in our whole district, not just P3. And a strong start for every child is getting them to school on time. And a strong start for every child is making sure that first day of school is a great day of school. So I'd like us to just continue to broaden the intention. Now, we have directors that are going to do and are doing amazing work to fortify the action steps on the strategic plan. Make no mistake about it. We have awesome work occurring. But as you're just looking at the strat plan, think about some of the intention with the strat plan. Right now, I think Strong Start for Every Child. My goodness, look at the third one. We have 35 schools that no longer will receive universal free lunch. That is so important, right? Like, huge for our kids. So when we're talking Strong Start for Every Child, think about that. Those 35 schools have so much work in front of them to work on completing those applications and supporting families that might have some degree of reluctance around these types of things, and working to make sure our kids are fed. Because come mid-September, we're back to no more universal free. And so that's what I think of when I do that. I think of and advocacy. I've talked a lot about activities. As an athlete, I'm really happy about sixth grade clubs and athletics and expansion of clubs and activities. I think it's an awesome something. And then safety and belonging. Again, if I was to highlight something, I would highlight belonging is everything, because I believe that through and through. And then the other one on there is us as adults. This is the modeling respect when we don't get it. And I know how hard that is. I've lived it. Oh my goodness. I remember my first, I'm teaching early in my career, and I'm providing some corrective behavior and helping reshape behaviors. And the student gives me an expression, can't say it out loud, gives me an expression, and wasn't expecting that. I thought when I went through teaching that those kind of things didn't happen. But, we are the standard of which kids look up to, and so let's always continue to maintain that respect, even when it's not given, and that's when it's most challenging. Academic growth, you could see that. I would say community in schools, when you build community, that's investment for exponential learning. And I ask that sometimes, and I had teachers that would come in my office and they would tell me the same thing. I'm like, when are we starting interventions? When are we going to do this? We need to make sure that we're doing this. I want this by the second week, and I want this by the third week, and we're going to be monitoring, and we're going to do this all the time. And my teachers came in and they're like, Joe, can I have some time to build community in my room? And these are the great teachers. And it's a real gut check moment as an administrator. And you're going to see on one of the slides that Doug is going to share later, but that humility piece is huge. I could have dug my feet in. No, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do just this. No, I'm going to listen to really good teachers square me up to help me make more informed decisions about what's best for the building and our kids. So I really just would like to call some attention to that. And then you can see expanding access and completion of advanced learning. I talked about that. So where does this take us? And thanks for being patient and listening as well as you have. I appreciate it. So we're getting close to the finale. So, all right, Joe. Again, great, lofty ideas. They're going to get loftier, okay? Because this is our vision, and this is what I hope we will all collectively lean into. And I so ask for your leadership. And when I say building leadership, I'm not just talking building leadership. I'm talking department leadership. I'm talking peer-to-peer leadership. Leadership is what is going to make the change that we need. And so I ask, please, let's lean into this very lofty vision. Beautiful part of our community. This is what we're looking for. I want a district known for the culture that we create and that people want to join our team. 500 employees have. That's what we want. I want a district that is known far and wide, and not to say it's not happening, but we always are working to get better. A district known for exceptional support for every student and family. One of the things we learned when we did some homework and evaluation on why do students leave Washoe County School District. Well, there's one answer, I believe. Laura, I hope I'm on target here. One answer rises to the top. One single bad experience that happens for a student. That's the primary reason that I believe we've discovered in why they leave. And so when I talked to the secretaries, I asked them, take that moment of patience. I know you're trying to get all those registrations in. I know that people are lining up at the counter. I know that you are just thinking about all the work that you have. Step by step, take the time, work, be patient with people. Oh, we can't do that today. You're going to have to come back tomorrow. I will tell you that one there will be one that I struggle with immensely. When our families come, we make sure that we help them out. A district known for operational and academic excellence, built on high expectations and high performance. Our kids, my kids, we all have, those of us who have kids, we talk to them all the time. It's so fun to get these insights about their school experience. It's like amazing. And collectively, the kids tell me, I love the class that's hard and really engaging. And we know that. We know that intuitively as educators. That's great space to lean into. So we want to make sure that we're putting that kind of expectation and then providing the conditions for kids to meet that expectation. A district known for students wanting to come back every year because of the teaching excellence and the high quality education we provide. One of my favorite experiences when I went over to Anderson Elementary as a principal. One of the questions I asked everybody is, what's your vision for the school? I didn't want to come in, I didn't want to just set the whole vision. And I asked them, what's the vision? One of my primary teachers, love primary teachers, first grade teacher comes up and she says, my vision is I want the kids beating down the door on Monday morning because they can't wait to come back to school. That made so much sense to me. And so that's what we're striving. That's our vision. That's what we're striving for. Creating schools, classrooms, departments that are striving to do that. And then a district known far and wide for demonstrating tangible success through academic gains and improving outcomes for kids. And I believe with all my heart and all my sincerity that I know we can do it because I know the talent, I know the people, and I know how we can work together. With that vision, I ask all of you to help support, because we're going to have to do it together, okay? And the leadership team recently had to humble me they allowed me to share a video of Michigan football coach. And it's one of my favorites. And what this coach does, and it was pretty funny, and they were very generous to me and taking it all in. And this video is a coach talking about team. Kind of losing his mind about team. I'm not gonna try to replicate it, but man, it's good. And so what I'm saying and what I have told our bus drivers and what I have told our secretaries, our registrars, and will tell every one of you, I don't believe that anyone is more important than the other. And I believe that we have to do it as a team. And so I really want to stress that. And so this is how I would like to close our morning together. It's kind of a call for your leadership. Again, my father made darn sure I understood that. a little more sure than I kind of wish he would have sometimes. Your actions speak so loudly, I cannot hear the words you say. Leadership is modeling. Leadership is doing it by example. Leadership is supporting. And so, schools and departments, we need great leaders. We need you. We need each other. And so I really ask that we lean in here. Great leaders recognize the importance of building teams, continually supporting and always pushing. Supporting doesn't mean you're not pushing. Pushing to collectively get better to achieve a common goal. That's what we're doing. Great leaders. And man, it's important for us as a school district, because remember, the school district's impact on this community is gigantic. And we have to attend this, okay? Great leaders develop future leaders. I would be nowhere in my education, in my career pathway, without leaders teaching me, talking to me, telling me what they're thinking, how they're doing it. They took the time, and it's so valuable. And so I ask our veteran leaders, take the time. I that some of you today will go over to find one of our new leaders in the building and introduce yourself and say hello. Because great leaders develop future leaders, okay? You try to make yourself not even a part of the equation. Great leaders, they continually reflect, they remain humble, and they're always committed to getting better. And that's what we're going to do. Great leaders are skillful communicators who reinforce clarity. And so today, I know that we have spoken principles, and not every single action going forward. But I hope that these principles can help drive thinking as you're welcoming your staffs back, as you are welcoming families back. And I hope that you understand these principles are so important and leadership is so important. And so that's how I would like to conclude today. I very much want to say thank you for all of your attention this morning. I want to thank you for rising to the challenge of leadership, because it is challenging, and I really want to make sure that I thank all of you for stepping up to that challenge. I hope that today you'll see professional learning connected around these priorities, and I hope all of you have an absolutely fantastic year ahead. Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me talk to you. And with that, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Mr. Doug Owen, who's going to share just a bit more. So if you can see, it's going to be 5 more minutes, and then I know we get to break time. Thanks, Doug. Okay.
Thank you. Superintendent Ernst, again, thank you.